Monday's 2 deaths were the first to be reported by the National Health Commission since December 3, days before Beijing announced that it was lifting curbs which had largely kept the virus in check for 3 years but triggered widespread protests last month. Though on Saturday, Reuters journalists witnessed hearses lined up outside a designated COVID-19 crematorium in Beijing and workers in hazmat suits carrying the dead inside the facility. Reuters could not immediately establish if the deaths were due to COVID. A hashtag on the 2 reported COVID deaths quickly became the top trending topic on China's Twitter-like Weibo platform on Monday morning. "What is the point of incomplete statistics?" asked one user. "Isn't this cheating the public?" wrote another. The NHC did not immediately respond to questions from Reuters on the accuracy of its data. Officially, China has suffered just 5,237 COVID-related deaths during the pandemic, including the latest 2 fatalities, a tiny fraction of its 1.4 billion population and very low by global standards. But health experts have said China may pay a price for taking such stringent measures to shield a population that now lacks natural immunity to COVID-19 and has low vaccination rates among the elderly. Respected Chinese news outlet Caixin on Friday reported that 2 state media journalists had died after contracting COVID, and then on Saturday that a 23-year-old medical student had also died. It was not immediately clear which, if any, of these deaths were included in official death tolls. "The number is clearly an undercount of COVID deaths," said Yanzhong Huang, a global health specialist at the Council on Foreign Relations, a U.S. think tank. "That may reflect the lack of state ability to effectively track and monitor the disease situation on the ground after the collapse of the mass PCR testing regime, but it may also be driven by efforts to avoid mass panic over the surge of COVID deaths," he said. The NHC reported 1,995 symptomatic infections for December 18, compared with 2,097 a day earlier. But infection rates have also become an unreliable guide as far less mandatory PCR testing is being conducted following the recent easing. The NHC stopped reporting asymptomatic cases last week, citing the testing drop. China's stocks fell and the yuan eased against the dollar on Monday, as investors grew concerned that surging COVID-19 cases would further weigh on the world's second-largest economy despite pledges of government support. The virus was also sweeping through trading floors in Beijing and spreading fast in the financial hub of Shanghai, with illness and absence thinning already light trade and forcing regulators to cancel a weekly meeting vetting public share sales. Japanese chipmaker Renesas Electronics Corp said on Monday it had suspended work at its Beijing plant due to COVID-19 infections. China's chief epidemiologist Wu Zunyo on Saturday said the country was in the throes of the first of 3 COVID waves expected this winter, which was more in line with what people said they are experiencing on the ground. "I'd say 60 to 70% of my colleagues are infected right now," Liu, a 37-year-old university canteen worker in Beijing, told Reuters, requesting to be identified by his surname. While top officials have been downplaying the threat posed by the new Omicron strain of the virus in recent weeks, authorities remain concerned about the elderly, who have been reluctant to get vaccinated. Officially, China's vaccination rate is above 90%, but the rate for adults who have received booster doses of the vaccine drops to 57.9% and to 42.3% for people aged 80 and above, according to government data. In the Shijingshan district of Beijing, medical workers have been going door-to-door offering to vaccinate elderly residents in their homes, China's Xinhua news agency reported on Sunday. But it is not just the elderly that are wary of vaccines. "I don't trust it," Candice, a 28-year-old headhunter in Shenzhen told Reuters, citing stories from friends about health impacts, as well as similar health warnings on social media. Candice spoke on condition that only her first name be used. Overseas developed vaccines are unavailable in mainland China to the general public, which has relied on inactivated shots by local manufacturers for its vaccine rollout. While China's medical community in general doesn't doubt the safety of China's vaccines, some say questions remain over their efficacy compared to foreign-made mRNA counterparts.
January 6th committee finalizes criminal referral plan for Trump. The House January 6th committee met Sunday to finalize its plans to issue at least 3 criminal referrals for former President Donald Trump, NBC News has learned exclusively. The committee, gathering publicly Monday, is expected to vote on referrals asking the Justice Department to pursue at least 3 criminal charges against Trump related to the Capitol riot. Representative Jamie Raskin, Democrat Maryland, said in part during the meeting overheard by NBC News that he believed referrals were warranted. A source familiar with the committee's plans told NBC News about the meeting and its location in the Capitol complex. The committee did not respond to requests for comment. NBC News previously reported that obstruction, conspiracy and incitement of an insurrection were among the charges the committee was considering to recommend against Trump. The criminal referrals carry no official legal weight, and it remains up to the Justice Department to decide whether or not to charge Trump and anyone else the committee might refer. Sources confirmed after the meeting that the discussions in the room were a review of decisions the committee made previously that would be presented Monday and that the meeting served as a rehearsal of sorts. The committee also discussed John Eastman, a conservative lawyer on Trump's legal team who authored a memo outlining a theory of how Trump could hold on to power on January 6. Eastman, via his attorney, declined to comment. The committee also plans to refer several Republican members of Congress to the House Ethics Committee for their defiance of congressional subpoenas, NBC News has learned. None of the subpoenaed members complied, Raskin said during Sunday's meetings, presenting the findings of the subcommittee responsible for referrals. And we are now referring 4 members of Congress for appropriate sanction with the House Ethics Committee for failure to comply. Asked for comment, a Trump campaign spokesperson shared a statement from Friday attacking the committee, adding that the campaign will have more to say after the referrals are made public Monday. The bipartisan committee, which is winding down its work before the end of the year, has rushed to file its findings into a lengthy, 8-chapter report set to be released to the public Wednesday.
Sam Bankman-Fried to appear in court Monday to drop extradition fight. Former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried is expected to appear in a Bahamas court on Monday to reverse his decision to contest extradition to the U.S., a person familiar with the matter told CNN. Bankman-Fried is expected to agree to extradition to the U.S., the person said. Reuters first reported that Bankman-Fried would withdraw his extradition fight Monday. It remains unclear what time Bankman-Fried will appear in court. If he waives his extradition, he would likely return to the United States quickly. Once in the States, he will appear before a U.S. judge for an arraignment and bail hearing. CNN has reached out to Bankman-Fried's lawyers and the Bahamas Attorney General. Last Tuesday, federal prosecutors from the Southern District of New York charged Bankman-Fried with 8 counts of fraud and conspiracy. Bankman-Fried could face up to 115 years in prison if convicted on all 8 counts against him, though he likely wouldn't get the maximum sentence. On top of that, U.S. market regulators filed civil lawsuits accusing Bankman-Fried of defrauding investors and customers, saying he built a house of cards on a foundation of deception while telling investors that it was one of the safest buildings in crypto. Bankman-Fried remains in the Bahamas, where FTX was based, and was arrested last Monday night. He was arraigned Tuesday, and a Bahamian judge denied his request for bail, saying that he posed a flight risk. His extradition to the United States could take weeks. Prosecutors allege Bankman-Fried conspired with others on numerous schemes, including misusing customer deposits held in FTX that were used to cover the expenses of Alameda, Bankman-Fried's hedge fund. Bankman-Fried also allegedly defrauded lenders to Alameda by providing them misleading information about the hedge fund's financial condition. The 14-page indictment also alleges that Bankman-Fried conspired with others to violate federal election laws by making political donations to candidates and fundraising committees between 2020 and November 2022, in excess of federal legal limits and in the names of other people.